We should do an introduction to start,
Okay.
because it's a whole.
I remember I was with a couple of very um, young guys who had just got married, and also me. I'm relatively, well, 5 years also, not so recent. But you were giving us advice, Jeff, as a long time married guy and father of two, about secrets of keeping a good relationship with our wives, and it was really good advice. And anyway, you we thought maybe we would talk about relationships, male, female, or generally just between people. And what do you think?
Sure, it'd be nice. It'd be a nice thing to do. I'm happy to share my thoughts and my ideas about relationships. Um, Essentially, a relationship is. We'll just go with two people relationship for
Okay,
now, of, of,
fine.
of two people interacting in some way. So, an unhealthy relationship is like, just say you're doing your thing. Say you're talking over here, and I'm over here thinking about my own thing of what I'm going to say back, and like, or I'm in my own place over here, and so you're over here in your space doing your thing, and I'm over here in my space.
And we're not really interacting.
We're not interacting, but we're together. We're relating at some level, but we're not having real relationship. We're not having a creative relationship, you could say. So creative relationship would be something like you're speaking here. I mean, you're speaking and I'm paying attention to you.
Right.
So it's like a figure eight. You're saying something, it comes to me, I give you my attention, and then it come back, and then at some point in true relationship, an idea comes to me, and I say yes. And I remember this story or this event,
And we're being
and then
influenced by each other.
right, and we're giving and receiving to each other, and it's a beautiful feeling when you're interacting. It doesn't even matter what it is, but there's the flow together. There's the respect together. There's the appreciation together. The other circumstance when you're just doing your own thing, it's not satisfactory. I mean you're together, but it's a feeling of a blah, or a feeling of incompleteness maybe. And so what we're interested in relationship is how we bring that flow together.
Right. Okay. So, so what are some keys that'll help us to do this? To have real, hopefully, loving, positive relationships with other people, with our spouses or whoever. What would you say are some keys to
Okay.
this?
So I would say that there are a number of different keys. The one that first comes to me is what I already mentioned, is listening, and not being so quick to be the positive. I have like a philosophy when I think of relationship. First, I think a person has to have a relationship with himself, which means that their body, their mind, their emotions, and their spirit have to all relate together with inside, so that they learn how to communicate together. So my feelings can give information to my mind can give information to my body or my feelings, and my spirit can offer something into it, always at each level. So there's a relationship inside. Once there's a personal relationship, you have the same thing that takes place with another person. Our spirits are relating to each other. Sometimes we don't know it because we don't tune into the spiritual level, but there's a connection, you could say, in the spiritual place. Our minds, say when we're talking, it's easier to see that our minds are relating. But our feelings are also relating. I'm feeling what's present in you. You're feeling with me. People call it empathy, I believe. And like you feel those feelings, and spiritual healers and mystics, they can feel what's in another person and even help them by just acknowledging what they're feeling. And many times, if I feel what's in another person, it helps clarify within the other person without me doing anything. It's just the presence there. And then our bodies also relate. Right now, we relate. We're physically together.
Our energy fields are mixed and affecting each other.
That's more on the spiritual level. Our energy
Okay.
fields are mixed. That's more. So it's giving information. And I believe that our bodies are very wise, which I'll take it to a little higher level now. I'm very much into the endocrine system, the hormonal system, And I believe that our hormones are actually communicating with each other, that they're giving information about how to be clear, how to be strong, how to be alive inside the body. And that there's information that's going on at this energetic level, and that different parts of the body,
interesting. Really
different parts of the body are giving information. So this is all in relating. Now, if we're in that first scenario where you're doing your thing and I'm doing my thing, we put up a wall. Our energy fields, they relate, but they don't relate well. And so what happens is this buffer zone between us becomes stronger. And this is one of the problems with nations and with larger groups of people, that it gets stronger and stronger, so it's hard to relate and connect because there's concepts in there. This buffer zone becomes filled with concepts and filled with ideas. So like you say, well, I don't like the way that you dress or something like this, or I don't like the way what you said to me. And so that sits in between us, and it just blocks us in one way.
Okay. I do. I love what you said about the body. That's really new for me. My wife and I, Lee, we've been studying something called nonviolent communication by one of the great geniuses of our time. Has brought it to the world. His name is Marshall Rosenberg. So we've been watching Marshall, and he talks about what it is we're all wanting is developing that quality of communication with one another that makes life joyful, and it has a lot to do with well, he says listening to the heart, being he talks about being the giraffe and not the jackal. The jackal is always diagnosing, and he's always seeing things in terms of right and wrong and good and bad. And he's starting his sentences with the problem with you. Again, diagnosis or right and wrong. And as if these things really exist other than our own minds. And so the opposite is the giraffe. And the giraffe who's got these giraffe ears, and he hears and sees what's alive in the other person, and he's always tuning in to the feelings and needs of who he's talking to, and it's this place of empathic listening and seeing. And it doesn't matter even if a giraffe is talking to a jackal who's into a diagnosis and what's right and what's wrong. The giraffe is has this power of empathy, empathic listening and seeing, where he's always connecting to feelings and needs. And so even though the other person may be into labeling and diagnosing and stuff like that, the giraffe isn't thrown off by it. He always is able to connect to the heart. And I think this is the quality that we've got to develop in our relations to each other. What can I say is except we need it. We need this way of seeing, of hearing, desperately. And the best thing you could do for yourself in your own life is simply to start learning to go to the website of nonviolent communication. NV, how does it go? Nonviolent, NVC, or Google Marshall Rosenberg. And I feel like very, very, very small in comparison to him. That's a diagnosis and a label. That's jackal thinking. But we've all, I'm jackaling myself, we've all learned to do this. And our happiness and the future of the world we leave for our children depends on developing this other quality of seeing and of listening. So how to be in the heart, how to see the heart, how to hear with the heart, what's alive in the other person, what he's feeling and needing. So I don't know. That's what I wanted to say. What else would you like to say about this, Jeff?
Well, first of all, Marshall Rosenberg's work is very good. I've studied a little with him, and and it's from some of his students, and it's excellent work.
Mm-hmm.
And basically learning how to communicate with one another, and one of the exercises is to listen. So if you're listening to this, you're learning how to listen already. And but those that are close to you in your world, just take the time, put your mind on hold, and just listen. So this is good. You asked me earlier in relationship to relationships, personal relationships.
You mean as spouse? Male, female?
Male, female. So
or
like
whatever, if you're
partner.
gay, whatever, yeah.
Okay, so with your intimate partner, and someone that you're with all the time, that you live with all the time.
Yes.
And recently I've been thinking about this, that really what makes the best relationships is when we learn how to do everything in our daily life together in a flowing way. You know, like we're flowing together. Things from taking care of children to dishes to taking care of your house, taking care of like what you're saying, your finances, all of the details of life. When we learn how to flow together with our partner, then everything in our life gets better and better and better. And
well, how do you go about doing that?
Well,
my answer is go watch Marshall Rosenberg and learn nonviolent communication. But what would your answer be?
Well, I would say, first of all, I say that there's many things like Marshall Rosenberg and other things in order to
I've never
watch
come
and
across
study.
it. Okay.
There are many different things out there. Marshall is very unique, and but I would say essentially one just has to stop and learn how to listen, and really how to put what you call the jackal mind on the side, like to just put the mind on the side and just observe and see what is present, and what is it that I need. Like, what do I need from my partner? What do I need from a partner? And I can share that with her in an honest way, with my wife in an honest way, and she can share back what I need. So to have deep communication. Excuse me?
She can share back what she needs. The problem is, the easy part is, we're all into what I need, whether we know it or not. The complicated part is hearing the feelings and needs of what the other person needs, and that's not so simple.
Well, that's it. You just have to take the time and the space in order to do that. But that's not just in your personal relationships, that's in all relationships. That's something that we're always looking at doing. And not always can we fulfill those needs, but we can be there so that we participate with it. And it's a matter also of being humble. Like of not saying, I know everything revolves around me. A lot revolves around me, but not everything. When I'm with someone else, a lot revolves around my wife as well. And what revolves around her and what revolves around me, how does that flow together? And then, like when you have children and such, if you're flowing in this flow, then the children turn out to be magical, mystical kids. They turn out to be unique, special kids. But if you're in there and you're fighting all the time, and if you're in there conflicting, the children pick that up very quickly, and others around you pick it up quickly, and then it grows. So the conflict grows and grows, and so that's what people realize, is that conflict is it's a natural part of relationship to conflict. Instead of conflicting, what I would say is you're working it out. You're working things out. You're in the flow. If there's a problem, you're in a flow together. So instead of yelling at each other, you take the space to immediately resolve it, immediately bring it to a higher level. And there are things that come up every day like this, and it's just a matter of learning how to be in this flow back and forth. As I said earlier, it's in the figure eight. We need to get into this figure eight space. When we're in this figure eight space, everything starts to grow, and life is much happier.
Okay, Jeff.